Good morning and welcome to 2PJZ. Today's video is about the pros and cons of owning an R34 Skyline on your Ps. Today's video is the first video on this channel, which I'm really excited about. And if you want to know what we're about a little bit more, feel free to check out the link that's in the description. For those who are unsure, your P plates is your driving license in Australia when you're between the ages of 17 to about 18 or 19. So I'm currently on my P2s, which is the second year of my P plates, and I'm 18. I've got one more year on them before I get my full license. On your Ps you get certain restrictions, so you can't drive turbos, supercharged, V8s. But enough of that, let's get to today's video. The point of this video really is to kind of help entertain and inform. When I was about 15, I was looking for some advice on what car I should buy, or what sort of things are helpful for me as a potential car buyer and a driver, what sort of things I need, what sort of things I don't need, what sort of things really are important and vital for you as a driver. The first pro about this car is pretty obvious. It's a visual thing, it's its looks. The car looks awesome. You know, it doesn't exactly look like a GTR, but it still has that aggressive front end, those distinctive rear tail lights, nice smooth lines, and just an overall really pleasing body. The car looks good, people know it looks good, people who aren't into cars look at it, you know, might think it's a hoon car. It gets the attention, and that's what leads on to the second pro, the attention. This car gets lots and lots of attention. I mean, it's pretty obvious, it's a Skyline. They're godly amongst the car community for whatever reason, whether it's the PlayStation generation or, you know, Fast and Furious being a cultural icon. But regardless of whether you drive a 25 GT or a GTR, a Skyline, especially an R34, is widely recognised. The that you get is, well, for me personally, in my own experience, it has been 100% positive. I haven't had any police attention at all. I haven't been pulled over once, and I am quite surprised by that.
Nick Minute.
You can make friends with people at car meets because people come up to you and they want to talk about the car. They want to know how you got it, if you imported it, where you bought it from, because there's not too many of these going around on P plates. I mean, there's a few, but there's not too many. The third pro is the noise. Listen to this. The noise of this car is definitely a reason to buy it. The muffler that's on here was put on by the previous owner, and it only cost him about 400 bucks, and it sounds pretty mean. And obviously the more expensive you go, the higher quality sound you expect to get, but I think 400 bucks is not too bad. Now the fourth pro about this car is that it is reasonably practical. It's not ultimately practical, and we'll come to that later in the cons section, but you know, it does enough. I've got split fire coil packs in this, and since I put those in, the fuel economy has drastically improved. The fuel economy of this car is actually pretty good. When you drive it normally, if you don't smash it around, which I don't, you get pretty good fuel economy. I'd say probably about between 10 and 11 litres per 100 kilometres. In America, if you're watching this, you'd have to transfer that over. I drive to school and back every day, or not anymore, and for that sort of driving it was absolutely perfect. Also, it can fit 4 people, including a driver. If you're tall like me, I'm 6'2". Someone can fit behind you if they're small or willing to have their legs amputated. You can fit things in it. I do pretty well with fitting school bags in. I probably can fit 3 sort of normal sized school bags, a cricket bag, a couple of sports bags. The fifth pro is the fact that it's an R34 Skyline. It's the sort of thing that, as a younger person, I mean not really a younger person, but you know, as a 14, 15 year old, I dreamed of having something like this. Having a car like this was an ambition, and it was something that I only thought was possible in a dream. But this car wasn't purchased for me by anyone. I saved for this car myself with my own money, my own funds. I worked hard for a few years. I used to have a BMW before this, I sold that. It's just the fact that you're driving around a Skyline. Most people in the car community, if you're into JDM, it's the sort of thing that you dream about, and I'm very privileged to be able to do that. However, this car does have its bad sides, and to be completely honest with you, in my experience, they kind of outweigh the positives. The first negative aspect to owning this car is the fact that it's very impractical. I spoke about it before, how it is kind of practical in terms of the fuel economy and the boot space and the seating. However, for day-to-day life, driving around every day, driving my brothers to school every day, taking my friends around, picking people up, having 2 doors and a small boot and very little back seating room does have its negative effects. It's a hassle to get in and out of, and that's the sort of thing that if you want to buy it, you buy it with your intentions and what you plan on doing with it in mind. If it's just you're an only child, or you're a youngest sibling, or you're the only one going to be driving, then that's totally fine, it's not an issue. But if you're going to be taking other people around regularly, I would say consider it. The second con about this car is the fact that it's pretty uncomfortable. Now that would be the rear tyres. For me, it's not too bad. You know, I bought the car knowing that I wanted to put coilovers on it, knowing the effects that coilovers have on a car. But I mean, doing this sort of driving that I'm doing now through the hills on the coilovers, it makes all the bumps worth it. This thing handles like it's on rails. The HSD Monopro coilovers, while on the street, are the stiffest bloody things ever. Once you bring them up here, the thing really just handles like it's on rails. But if you're driving around, driving to school and back every day to work, and there's no real enjoyable driving that you plan on doing, having a set of coilovers in your daily, in this car, the ones that I have, HSD Monopros, it's probably not the wisest idea. As I said before, like all these cons, they're seriously just my personal experience. I mean, God, this is fun. If I was free throughout year 12 to do more of this sort of hills driving, this car would be worth it. However, that leads me on to the third con, the performance. In terms of a P-plater car, it's not too bad. But there's more that you can get. A lot more that you can get. This car is on par with my old car, which was 2002 BMW 325 Ci, an E46 series. That produced about 145 kilowatts. This car has a straight 6, producing about 140. That's not really a whole lot, but I guess if you're not going to be concerned about power, which in this car you kind of buy it for that grunt and buy it for that aggression, you may be a little bit disappointed. This car is not the best car to drive every day into P-plates, but if I had a turbo version, all I did with it was bring it up here and drive it around. It's awesome. This car is great to drive in the hills. It's fantastic. I guess that's just a bonus pro of it, is that it's unpredictable. I mean, it's a pro and a con. This car is just so unpredictable. It's good because it surprises you sometimes in positive and negative ways. The car surprised me today by pulling out all the stops to give me one hell of a drive before I sell it tomorrow. Whereas, you know, when I first bought it, it pulled out all these surprises, and I had to replace head gaskets and, you know, everything else that had gone, and it was just a nightmare. And that's what kind of put me off this car from the start. Overall, while I am glad that I'm selling the car and I really am excited for my Mark IV Golf, there are some exciting things about it. I may have made it sound like it's an awful car, but it's not. It's just maybe not right for a P-plater. Based on my experiences, it may not be right for a P-plater. On your experiences, it could be very different. If you want to get it, then get it. There's nothing stopping you, just take my advice. That brings us to the end of today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'm still pretty new at this. If you enjoyed today's video, please give a like, a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel for more. I'll really be looking at doing this sort of thing more. My new car is an R32 Mark IV Volkswagen Golf, which I'm picking up from Melbourne. I'll be documenting that, so if you're keen for that, hit the notifications button and subscribe to my channel. I'm Pat, and this is 2PJZ. Thanks for watching.